Hello, I am Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be trying something a little different in which I am essentially going to do an overview of an article I write. I might start doing this for all future articles or like monster reviews, godfests that are of significance. Gives you another medium to listen to me. Might be helpful, might not. Give me some feedback if you like this sort of thing, and I'll continue to do it in the future. So, without further ado, I'm going to badly mispronounce every single name, but tell you a little bit about each card really quickly. So, the Kenshin Collab is coming to North America very, very soon, and it comes with a lot of new mechanics and a reasonable pool of rare machine monsters to pull from. However, nothing is that spectacular. They're just okay or novelty at best. So, you know right now how there's this whole heart cross meta going on? Well, they're switching to now a color cross meta, and some people might be cross about this, but it's interesting. It's a fun play style. It's challenging, but in the case of Kenshin Collab, they bring forth leaders who have the highest damage multiplier in the game. Now, you can find this whole article on my website. It will be linked in the YouTube video shortly, so just find that. And without further ado, this is Yura Kenshin. So, he's a 6-star base role, so he's considered the top end of this Collab REM machine. And he has 2,916 times attack when forming 3 light or fire heart crosses. You can do a combination of the two. Now that's a lot of attack multiplier. That is outrageous, it's silly, it's unnecessary at the same time because you're doing more than enough damage already. Actually, 2 crosses is 324 times, and that's probably enough already. And the downside of heart crosses, or I'm sorry, color crosses, is that they're awkward to form, so you're going to have low combo count. And if you only make 1 cross, you only get 36 times, which is probably not going to be enough for most content. So you need to make the 2 crosses, and for 324. It hits really hard. It's going to kill most things. Like obviously, like say Arena Kali or the Radar Dragons, those will have too much health. But to be fair, this leader will never make it to Arena 3 because he has no health or recovery multiplier and no damage control. So he's basically a super glass cannon that has no damage control setting. You're basically going to do so much damage, blow things up, you can't control it. And you can't heal or you can't tank hits very effectively. So he's going to be more novelty and fun by comparison to, say, using Raw Dragon, Xiangmei, Miyu, Kaed, so on and so forth. Just not as consistent, just going to be flashy and cool. And his active generates 2 fire, 2 light, and 2 turns of fire and light skyfalls on 6 turns. So dual leaders is 4 turns, so 67% uptime, more with haste. And some subs you can bring are, say, Leyland, Tsubaki, Saria, but as long as they make fire and light, do damage. Now, Saito Hajimin is the other 6-star role from this collab, and he's similar in the sense that you have to make only dark crosses, but he only caps out at 324 times. So that's still more than enough damage, and it's because you have to only make dark crosses. So your spacing is limited on a 6x5 board, so you're going to be capped there. But to be fair, 324 times is a lot of damage still. It's very concentrated. And he has 5 enhanced Dark Orb Awakenings, so dual leaders is 10. So you're dealing spectacular amounts of passive damage. And he at least gives 4 times recovery bonus on a skill being used. So the problem is with that skill use clause, you're not going to be able to stall because when you're stalling, you're not using skills. But in order to gain the recovery, you have to use a skill. So you're kind of defeating its own purpose right there. So he has a bit more survivability, but it's not going to be effective in the long run, especially dungeons with mechanics. Again, 1 heart cross is 36 times. Probably is going to hit too hard for, say, Stop Debt. So you're going to have troubles. Now, well, actually, no, you can actually use an active to gain a little bit more damage. So you might be able to handle Stop Debt. So you have a bit more damage control. So moving down to the 5 stars, there is a Yoshi who has a 6 Water Orb spawn and a 2-turn Skyfall buff and double 2-prong. And he only has 4 awakenings, which feels a little sad because if you go down further, the 4 stars have more awakenings. And He could be used on Rukia and Yaoyu teams, probably his best home because row-based teams don't have a use for it. You might inherit his active. The main trend in this collab is you're rolling lots of assistants for skill inheritance. That's the main issue. You're not necessarily rolling good subs, you're rolling great assistants. So you can use him as an assistant on row-based teams because generating 4 water orbs can be useful to correct bad board changes or give you a little bit of extra damage, as well as the 2-turn Skyfall buff. Moving down to Sanosuke, he has 100% damage avoid for 1 turn, 100,000 true damage to a single enemy, and you reduce your own team's health by 50%. Now that's a lot of things going on at the same time, but it's really the 100% defense void that's of most importance because it allows you to use him on push button teams or say your arena farming team or whatever to bypass the pre-draws defense to make them have 0, and you can match any combo and we'll just pick them off because they have like 10 health or 25, whatever it may be. You basically can just pick them off that way. You've seen how Balboa can be used on Awoken Liu Bei teams. Sanosuke is another alternative. Probably just as hard to roll, to be fair, but it's another option. The health reset may situationally be useful on teams such as Dark Metatron, but his main benefit is he's only a 7-turn cooldown, so it's easier to inherit him and use him by the time you need him. And finally, Soujiro is the final 5-star who has 3 light rows, attacker killer, and his active is okay. It spawns 2 light orbs, it does 99 true damage to a single enemy, and it's only a 3-turn cooldown. Now, 3 turns, you're able to use him as a base for skill inheritance if you wish to keep those awakenings. With only 3-turn base, it's quite helpful, but you have to keep in mind he provides no skill boost, so it's kind of negating his own benefit of a low cooldown. So he might have uses, might not. It's okay. Like, I feel like the 5-stars were just okay, and the 4-stars are actually a little more exciting. And what makes this collab more interesting about the 4-stars is that they all can evolve into a 5-star form. Therefore, they can be used as assistants for skill inheritance. And the top 4-star role is Kaoryu. He has 9 awakenings. He's very similar to like the Wedding Izanami, who's just amazing in the sense that lots of awakenings. He has 2 rows, 3 water orb enhances, 3 light orb enhances. So by default, you can use him on mono water teams because he provides a great amount of awakening power bonus, and his active actually spawns a top row of water, a bottom row of light, and a 50% of your total team's health heal. That's a lot of elements for only a 12-turn cooldown. So outside of mono water teams, which makes sense, you can actually use them as an assistant, possibly even a sub on, say, Lightning or DQXQ teams who are rainbow based, but they want to make rows. So with your rows already formed, all you have to do is match the ones in the middle. So it might make your life a little easier. However, you have to be careful that you don't want to override your existing colors to proc your full damage multiplier. That's more important. But despite all those, his greatest asset is probably going to be used on Machine Zeus teams, either when it's water-based or as an inheritance. Because Machine Zeus teams are known for just clearing through challenging content at the push of a button, and the 50% health heal is huge because after you get a preemptive, you can heal up, and then you already have a light row or water row formed to do damage. You just swipe an orb, row, kills the floor. Furthermore, if you have, say, New Year's Hanzo, you can combo that water row into another light row. So you have 2 light rows, no thinking required, and the heal to restore your health so you get your full multiplier. I think that's what he's probably going to use on the most outside of the water teams and Lightning DQXQ. Pretty crazy time to be alive, in my opinion, for a 4-star. Next up is Miss IO. They do yellow jammers to fire on a 6-turn cooldown. It's essentially an upgraded Chiyomi active. You can combo off Leyland for a 2/3 fire board. However, fire is not that popular at the moment. There's no strong leader, so it may not have much use yet. And upgrading Chiyomi's active is just okay at best, but at least it's something to keep in mind, especially dungeons with lots of jammers. Next up is Takami Megumi, and she basically has a very powerful bind clear which converts dark, jammers, poison to hearts, as well as 5 turns bind recovery. She won't be used as a sub, but she'll be more so used as an assistant to upgrade an existing bind clear. And she will have uses on, say, Miyu teams or other Heart Cross leaders, because you'll unbind your team and have enough Heart Orbs to form your cross to survive the next hit. Useful, but again, situational, but not too bad for a 4-star because you have Inheritance, so it actually is not a throwaway. Next up is Kamatari. They are a 4-star base as well, but they have 3 skill boosts, so this is good for push-button teams. And in addition, it does 99 true damage to all enemies, plus a 3-turn Wood Skyfall, which is not relevant for most cases. So you're mostly going to be using her as either a sub on your push-button teams because of the 3 skill boosts, and you can use it to nuke down pre-draws or Tamadros or any of those high defense, low health monsters. Or because of the ability to evolve, you can use her as an inheritance on your stronger teams for when you're tackling harder content, especially on wood-based teams. Pretty nice role. It's a good way to complete a push-button team when you don't have the more exciting subs because she is 4-star, so it's much easier to acquire. And finally is Yahiko, and he has the active that spawns an entire column of light orbs on the right column. This is great for, say, Machine Zeus or Cloud teams who will be able to form a TPA by moving one of those light orbs away. It's kind of just situational, but it's helpful. And as a sub, he's not too bad on those teams because he at least has the 2-prong and Devil Killer. So he might have some uses. So basically, in conclusion, like, this collab basically provides value from every card. Like, there's no necessarily throwaway card. They'll have value. However, it's niche value and not so much overpowering value. It's going to be helpful, but it's not going to be game-breaking. It's just going to, like, enhance your quality of life a little bit. So at least every role is useful, but it's not worth it, especially when you consider that the beach raring machine is coming up and they're much prettier. I'm going to do a review on that shortly, so stay tuned for that. So let me know how you found this video. Is it helpful? I might do these in the future, as well as, do you plan on rolling? What do you hope to get? And how many stones have you budgeted? So thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my site, and happy puzzling!